Hey everyone, it's Josh from Blockchain DXB and today's the 25th of November 2024. Unfortunately guys, the price of Bitcoin has not crossed the $100,000 mark, and according to me guys, there is only one explanation as to why that thing has not happened. Now what happened guys, a few days ago, I believe it was on Wednesday or Thursday, Joe Biden did instruct President Zelensky that they can go ahead and use missiles against Russia, and because of that guys, there is a lot of chaos going on in the geopolitical world, isn't it? And some of the Ukrainian leaders, guys, they have also agreed that this move is absolutely terrible, not just for Ukraine, even for Russia and other countries. And only because of this uncertainty, guys, the price of Bitcoin is not crossing the $100,000 mark. That is my honest opinion. But here's the interesting thing to remember, guys. If you look at the global cryptocurrency market, it is definitely pumped up since the last 72 hours. So it looks like since the last 72 hours, guys, a lot of actions is actually taking place in altcoins. So we'll definitely go ahead and take a deep dive into this. Now look, so far as President Donald Trump is concerned, he was advocating for peace, not just between Russia and Ukraine, but also between Israel and Palestine, isn't it? And looks like the Biden regime definitely wants to go ahead and disrupt that. So what I'll do is, guys, I'll go ahead and share my thoughts and opinion on it, and what is the policies of Biden. I like to call it as War Biden, and unfortunately, guys, because of that, the price of Bitcoin is not crossing the $100,000 mark. Now, interestingly, guys, if you look at all the producers of arms and ammunitions, that is Lockheed Martin, RTX, also called as Raytheon before, Northrop Grumman, as well as L3 Technology Harris, their share prices have pumped up since the last 72 hours. So these are things you need to factor as well. So let me know, guys, if you agree to my assessment or if you disagree to it. Now, that thing being said, guys, since the last 7 days, if you look at the volume of NFTs, they're definitely record breaking, and they have reached a volume of $158 million. Now, if you do want to look at in-depth information regarding NFTs, guys, CryptoSlam.io, they have provided concrete information, so I'll definitely go ahead and recommend you guys to go ahead and check it out. Now, we do have another unfortunate news, guys, and this is connected to Sui blockchain, and unfortunately, guys, they had a network downtime as well, and the downtime was for almost 2 hours, so we'll definitely go ahead and take a deep dive into this. Now, the final news, guys, is all the way from United Kingdom, and looks like in 2025, they want to go ahead and have a regulatory framework. Now, what is interesting to note, guys, is they want to have a regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies, stable coins, as well as staking service. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the outcome to this is. And the economic secretary, that is Tulip Siddiq, who I believe is from the Labour government, they will be the ones who will be planning this. Now look, guys, historically I've said this, when it comes to politics and cryptocurrencies, right-wing ideologies and right-wing politicians, they're definitely in favor of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now in UK, guys, the Conservatives are in favor of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The left-leaning administration or the Labour Party, they are definitely not fans of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So you need to be aware of those factors as well. So we'll definitely go ahead and touch base on this news. Because look, guys, when you talk about Europe, there's already Mika, isn't it, that is market in crypto assets. So could it be possible that UK is trying to replicate something similar? Only time will tell, I guess. So quite a lot of cover, guys, in today's episode. And like we do in every Crypto and Coffee a Day podcast, we will be looking at 2 news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. Now the first news, guys, has to do with tokenization. And to be honest, guys, I have mixed reaction to this, because the news is definitely making quite a lot of headways in Dubai. And the news essentially is that Mantra, they have partnered with Pice, and they want to tokenize electric motorcycle in UAE. But look, guys, when you talk about tokenization, it is so critical to understand that when you talk about KYC and AML, this has to be done on an open blockchain. There is nothing called as permission blockchain, isn't it? So I'll go ahead and share my thoughts and opinion on it. Now the second news, guys, is connected to artificial intelligence, and this is from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And Help AG, guys, they have unveiled AI-driven cybersecurity solutions at Black Hat, and looks like they want to secure Saudi Arabia's digital future. So we'll definitely go ahead and take a deep dive into this. And last week, guys, there was an interesting report which was published by AWS, isn't it, that talked about a lot of developments taking place not just in Saudi Arabia but in UAE as well. So please feel free to go ahead and check out the report by AWS as well. Now look, guys, I've been saying this over and over again. When it comes to artificial intelligence, I wouldn't be surprised if the Middle East turns out to be the leader, not just from this region, but probably in the entire world as well. So really interesting developments taking place in AI from this region. So quite a lot of cover, guys, in today's episode. Let's kickstart with it right away. Thank you to our sponsors for being part of the Blockchain DXB journey. Firstly, Advanced Media. Advanced Media, guys, is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact, guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well, and Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously, and they're focusing on 3 P's, that is people, planet and prosperity. Now listen, guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website, that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE. So definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing, and hosting training workshops, seminars, and community events that educate, inform, and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen, guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing. Go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform. Check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And finally, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now, guys, since you're taking care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market. And as I mentioned earlier, guys, the price of Bitcoin has unfortunately gone down, and there was a very high possibility of the price of Bitcoin to cross the $100,000 mark, but it has actually gone down, and right now it is at $96,347. Now, what is really interesting to note, guys, is if you look at the global cryptocurrency market, that has actually pumped up since the last 72 hours. Today, it is at a staggering $3.27 trillion, which just means one thing, guys, since the last 72 hours, a lot of actions is actually taking place in altcoin, isn't it? And I wouldn't be surprised, guys. A lot of momentum is actually taking place in meme coins or NFTs. Now, interestingly, guys, I do have some really interesting metrics connected to NFTs, where the volume is definitely record-breaking as well. So look, guys, whenever the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies pump up, usually a lot of people tend to buy smaller tokens and cryptocurrencies, isn't it? But there is also a massive risk associated with them, because there is a very high possibility these might be dumping down as well. So we definitely need to be aware of those factors. Now, if you look at the market sentiment, guys, it is still at extreme greed, and the number associated is 85. Now, if you look at the total cryptocurrency market volume, guys, it is at a staggering $195.44 billion. Now, what is really interesting to note, guys, is despite it being at a staggering $195.44 billion, since the last 24 hours it is down by 13.89%. And look, guys, there is only one person why these numbers are picking up so much pace. That is because of President Donald Trump, isn't it? And because President Donald Trump is re-elected, he is appointing a lot of cabinet members who are very Bitcoin and crypto friendly. As a matter of fact, guys, last week we talked about Gary Gensler, who has actually put down his resignation, and the person President Donald Trump has put forward, she's a massive advocate of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and this just shows the power of politicians, particularly President Donald Trump, having a positive impact, isn't it? But exactly at the same time, guys, Joe Biden is advocating for war, and this is a complete surprise not just for Republicans but also for Democrats, to be honest. Because look, guys, there are rumors that President Donald Trump did have secret meetings with the world leaders where he was putting forward a plan towards world peace, not just between Russia and Ukraine, but also between Israel and Palestine. But look, guys, Joe Biden decided to go ahead and completely disrupt this. So it looks like based on the research, Joe Biden is definitely a massive advocate of war, isn't it? And if you look at the connections, guys, all of the share prices of the arms and ammunition companies, they're definitely been pumping up since the last 72 hours. I'm pretty much sure, guys, there's definitely needs thorough investigation, isn't it? Now, could it be possible a lot of the Senate members and Congress members who are advocating the decision by Joe Biden, they would have already purchased the shares few days ago, isn't it? There is definitely a very high possibility for that. Now, let me quickly run to the global cryptocurrency snapshot, guys. Because unfortunately, guys, no matter what happens in the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency world, the volume in DeFi definitely does not seem to be pumping up, isn't it? And today it is at only $14.39 billion. And DeFi as of today is accounting for 7.39% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. And if you look at the total value locked, guys, this is definitely pumped up. And today it is at a staggering $116.30 billion. And even if you look at the market cap of Ethereum, guys, it is definitely pumped up, and I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on that. Now, if you look at decentralized exchange dominance, guys, since the last 3 weeks, it is consistently crossing the 40% mark, and today it is at 40.68%. And what happened, guys, since the last 3 weeks? President Donald Trump is re-elected, isn't it? And this, to be honest, has definitely had a positive impact on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, as well as people using decentralized exchanges as well. Now, if you look at decentralized exchange, guys, there is a massive shake-up so far as the top 5 exchanges concerned. Since the last 2 weeks, guys, Radium was consistently at number 1, and most often than not, the 24-hour volume is crossing the $5 billion mark, certain cases even $4 billion mark, isn't it? But today, Radium is at number 2nd, and Uniswap's 24-hour trading volume is at number 1, and the 24-hour volume is $3.74 billion. Radium, guys, is at number 2nd, and its 24-hour volume is $2.79 billion. PancakeSwap is at number 3rd. Its 24-hour trading volume is $1.26 billion. And Orca, guys, is at number 4th. Its 24-hour trading volume is $852.89 billion. And Aerodrome, guys, is at number 5th. Its 24-hour trading volume is $789.18 million. Now, let me quickly run through the volume of stablecoins, guys, because truth be told, these might be the only times when even on Sundays the volume is ridiculously high. On an average weekend, guys, the volume of stablecoins usually goes down to $30 to $40 billion mark, but today it is at $174.85 billion. Now, the reason why I'm saying weekend, guys, is I'm looking at these numbers in the early hours of Dubai, and technically it is still Sunday in most of the Western countries, isn't it? So keeping that thing in mind, guys, these numbers are almost 4 times of what it is, isn't it? Definitely brilliant stuff. And because the volume of stablecoins is so high, guys, it also means that in the next coming days and weeks, there is a very high possibility that the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will be pumping up as well. Now, it's also important to note that stablecoins today is accounting for 89.46% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. And so far as the 24-hour volume of stablecoins is concerned, it is needless to say that Tether USDT is leading the pack, and its 24-hour volume is $157.87 billion. Circle USDC is at number 2nd, but its volume is less than $10 billion mark, $8.84 billion to be precise. And the third one, guys, is FDUSD, and its 24-hour volume is $7.79 billion. Now, if you look at the market cap, guys, surprisingly, Ethereum's market cap has pumped up, whereas Bitcoin's market cap has actually gone down, and Ethereum's market cap is at a staggering $400 billion. If you look at Bitcoin's market cap, guys, it is at $1.90 trillion. Now let's look at the 24-hour trading volume, because Bitcoin's 24-hour trading volume is $48.07 billion, and Ethereum's 24-hour trading volume is $28.67 billion. Now if you look at the dominance, Bitcoin's dominance has actually gone down, and today it is at 58.10%, whereas Ethereum's dominance has also gone down to 12.20%. Now if you go to CoinMarketCap, guys, and if you look at the cryptocurrencies that has pumped up the lot since the last 24 hours, Sandbox or Sand is at number 1, and since the last 24 hours it is up by 41.51%. Tezos, guys, is up by 23.31%, and Stellar XLM, it is up by 19.09%. Now look, guys, I wouldn't be surprised over the next coming days. These tokens might actually go down, because when you talk about Sandbox or Sand, guys, it is connected to Metaverse, isn't it? So I'm pretty much sure there's some kind of partnership news that has been announced, and it is only because of that there is a lot of pumping up going on. Now what I want to do next, guys, is I want to run to the market cap of blockchain and cryptocurrency projects that are dealing with derivatives. And the first one, guys, is Injective Protocol, and its market cap is at $2.63 billion. Pendle is at number 2nd, but its market cap is below the $1 billion mark. It is at $846 million. DYDX, guys, at one point of time was at number 1, but today it is at number 3rd, and its market cap is $670 million. Synthetics is at number 4th, its market cap is $665 million, and at number 5th, guys, is Evo, and its market cap is $376 million. Now, guys, let's go ahead and look at the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin, and the price of Bitcoin, as I mentioned earlier, guys, could have actually crossed the $100,000 mark, but it is down to $96,347. But look, guys, because the volume of stable coins is pumping up, I wouldn't be surprised, let's say by Tuesday or Wednesdays, the price could actually cross the $100,000 mark. This would only be possible if there is no more geopolitical chaos created by the Biden administration. So let's see, guys, how the news develops so far as geopolitical chaos is concerned, not just between Russia and Ukraine, but also between Israel and Palestine. Now going back to the price of Bitcoin, guys, since the last 24 hours, it is down by 1.55%, but since the last 7 days, it is actually up by 6.90%. If you look at Ethereum, guys, it is at $3,331, but since the last 24 hours, it is down by 2.89%. But if you look at it since the last 7 days, it is still up by 8.02%. Solana also looks like the last quarter of 2024 is definitely beneficial so far as the price is concerned, isn't it? Today it has had a staggering $249, but since the last 24 hours, guys, it is down by 2.72%, and since the last 7 days, it is up by 7.39%. Now look, guys, if you're looking at price via CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, most of the top tokens are looking red, isn't it? And the reason why that is pretty simple, guys. Joe Biden did actually go ahead and inform President Zelensky to go ahead and start using missiles, and unfortunately, guys, because of that, there is so much of uncertainty in the market, isn't it? And look, guys, the Democrats, after losing the election, and with extreme left-leaning Biden administration, they did actually authorize Ukraine to use US-made weapons for strikes, deep dive into Russian territory. And what is a bit crazy, guys, is this marks a significant shift in Washington's stance on Ukraine-Russia conflict. Now, this particular article, guys, is actually published by Reuters, and what they have also said, guys, is since the last 72 hours, Ukraine has already carried out the long-range attacks, and look, guys, because of this, President Putin from Russia is also retaliating, isn't it? And unfortunately, guys, because of this, there's so much of geopolitical chaos. The price of Bitcoin has actually gone down, but check this out, guys. If you look at the companies that are providing arms and ammunitions, that is Lockheed Martin, their stock prices have hit a new all-time high, and Emerson has actually published an article that actually states that if the war continues, the share prices of Lockheed Martin will continue to rise even further. Even RTX, guys, which is formerly known as Raytheon, they also do something similar to what Lockheed Martin does, and their share prices are pumped up as well. Northrop Grumman, their share prices are pumped up, and L3 Technology Harris, guys, their share prices are pumped up as well. Now look, guys, I don't want to make this episode completely political, but so far as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is concerned, guys, we need to understand that so far as politicians are concerned, this is both from Democrats and Republicans. Most of them are advocates of war, isn't it? And the answer to this is pretty simple, guys. What notorious politicians tend to do is, they tend to buy shares in advance, and when the war escalates, their share prices increases, isn't it? And this is probably one of the reasons why, guys, they did not want Matt Gaetz as an attorney general. Cause look, guys, Matt Gaetz was actually investigating a lot of senators and congressmen who were buying shares of these companies. Now, if you do need more information regarding them, guys, I'd really recommend you guys to go ahead and do your own research. So look, guys, when you talk about US politics, there are completely contradicting views, isn't it? Joe Biden and Democrats, guys, they're definitely supporting war between Russia and Ukraine, and they want increased military intervention and support for Ukraine. And Biden's foreign policy, guys, has always been characterized by an escalation of US involvement in global conflicts, particularly Ukraine, and the recent approval of long-range weapons for Ukraine to strike deep into Russia is a classic example of Biden's willingness to escalate military tensions. Now, what is crazy, guys, is this was done despite several warnings of potential retaliation or broader conflict. But it's needless to say, guys, that this particular approach do actually align with the view that Biden and Democrats are not hesitant to escalate situations if they believe US will benefit by these strategies. Now, under the Biden administration, guys, Biden has provided billions in military aid to Ukraine, and if I'm not mistaken, over the weekend he also said that $65 billion of loan given to them will be completely forgiven as well. So it looks like he's definitely advocating war between Russia and Ukraine. Now, many critics, guys, including some of the Democrats, do actually argue that such support does actually increase the potential of war, and he should not be doing that. Rather, he should be focusing on leading diplomatic negotiations, isn't it? But look, guys, since he's out of office, looks like you want to go ahead and completely destroy the US economy. And unfortunately, guys, what I'm worried is that the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies might be going down as well. Now, if you know the whole drama between NATO, Russia, and Ukraine, guys, Biden has strongly supported NATO's expansion and has always been a vocal proponent of bringing more countries into the alliance, especially those near Russia's borders. And this particular stance, guys, has been seen by many as direct provocation to Russia, especially with the inclusion of countries like Finland and Sweden. And the expansion of NATO, guys, has been a long-standing point of contention with Russia, and Biden's support for it is viewed by critics as heightened tensions between Russia and the West. Now look, guys, what I'd really recommend you to do is, President Putin did have an interview with Tucker Carlson, and he surprisingly said that he also wanted to be part of NATO, but the former presidents of the United States of America have rejected his request. Now, these are things we are not aware about, isn't it? We only find out when a podcast episode is released. Now, look, guys, right now there's also a lot of Middle East chaos going on, isn't it? And under Biden's failed leadership, guys, the US has maintained a substantial presence in the Middle East, despite calls for reducing military intervention, and the US continues to be involved in various proxy conflicts, supporting certain factions or other places in Syria and Yemen. And what's crazy, guys, is Biden's administration has continued US support for Israel, particularly during Gaza conflict, and is engaged in rhetoric that some view as aligning the US more closely with military aggression rather than fostering peace in the region. And Biden and many Democrat leaders, guys, have used the rhetoric that suggests a willingness to control global power, like Russia and China militarily if possible. Now here's the interesting thing, guys. While Joe Biden has promoted diplomacy, many people, including the Democrats, believe his policies, particularly regarding his military aid to Ukraine, suggest a path of prolonged conflict rather than peace. And this goes back to one of the quotes by Julian Assange, isn't it? The goal by these notorious politicians, guys, is not to have a successful war, but an ongoing war. Cause look, as so far as war is concerned, it can be used for war trading, isn't it? Now, apart from that, guys, Biden administration's handling of relations with China has also raised concerns, with some critics arguing that his policies could lead to military escalation in South China and Taiwan, potentially dragging the US into another conflict. Now look, as if you know President Donald Trump, he wanted to reduce military involvement abroad, isn't it? But Biden administration, guys, has shown a reluctance to fully withdraw from foreign conflicts, and they clearly paused the entire withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. Now what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, Go to YouTube and check out the interview between Imran Khan, who was a former Prime Minister of Pakistan, along with President Donald Trump. And even in that interview, guys, they laid down clear guidelines how the US military will be withdrawn from Afghanistan. But the Biden administration completely botched that. And not only that, guys, under the Biden administration, the US has not shied away from using economic sanctions and military aid. So look, guys, when you talk about world chaos and geopolitical situation, the Biden administration has been less focused on fostering negotiations, and they're more focused on maintaining economic and military pressure, which is creating a lot of conflict rather than peace, isn't it? But look, guys, ever since President Donald Trump got re-elected, that had a positive impact on a possible world peace, and because of that, guys, the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies were pumped up, isn't it? And the only reason why the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are pumping up is because President Donald Trump, guys, he's a massive advocate of world peace and diplomacy, and during his presidency, guys, Trump emphasized a policy of America first, focusing on reducing US military involvement in overseas conflict, and he was highly critical of endless war, even in places like Afghanistan and Iraq, and he always sought to bring American troops back home, and his approach, guys, often favored diplomatic negotiations over military interventions, and now, guys, we can clearly back this with actual data, isn't it? Because when President Donald Trump was in charge between 2016 to 2020, there was absolutely no war. But when Joe Biden took office, Taliban took over Afghanistan, Russia invaded Ukraine, and even if you look at COVID-19 deaths, guys, there was more death under the Biden administration. And during that time, guys, even the inflation reached an all-time high, highest in the last 40 years. And under the Biden administration, guys, there is ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine, isn't it? And since the last 2 years, guys, military has escalated in South China and Taiwan. Now look, guys, these are visible results, isn't it? And that is one of the reasons why people actually voted for President Donald Trump. Because look, guys, historically speaking, President Donald Trump wants world peace, and even if you look at the price of Bitcoin, guys, he did actually attend the Bitcoin national event, and one of the promises that he said has already been fulfilled, guys. He said that on day one he would fire Gary Gensler, but guess what, guys? Gary Gensler himself has put down his resignation. Now look, when you talk about politics, guys, before the elections in 2016, Hillary Clinton was saying that we would be heading towards nuclear war, and this was because of Kim Jong of North Korea. Instead, guys, what President Donald Trump did, he engaged in direct diplomacy with leaders like North Korea, alongside Vladimir Putin from Russia. Now, while this move seemed to be controversial, guys, his approach was grounded in an attempt to de-escalate tensions and avoid military conflict, and he did that to personal negotiations rather than sanctions or even military threats. Now, regarding Kim Jong, guys, he held multiple summits with Kim Jong, aiming to reduce nuclear tensions on the Korean Peninsula and negotiate denuclearization, signaling his preference for peace through dialogue. Trump's stance has been absolutely crystal clear. He has constantly been against sending American troops into new wars or expanding military conflicts. For example, guys, he was extremely cautious about getting involved in Syrian civil war and sought to avoid direct conflict with Iran, and this was after the US assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, and his administration, guys, took military action in a limited and highly calculated way, such as the airstrike of Soleimani. But other than that, guys, he aimed to prevent a larger military footprint, especially in areas where the US had no strategic interest. And President Donald Trump, guys, has always been a critic of US arms sales to foreign government that may escalate conflicts, particularly when he believes sales could provoke further violence or draw US into unwanted military entanglements. And this particular approach, guys, aligns with the broader stance of reducing US military commitment abroad, isn't it? And look, as President Donald Trump has always been promoting economic peace and trade agreements. Now, if you're someone in Dubai and UAE, guys, you should know the only reason why we are safe right now is because of the Abraham Accords, isn't it? And prior to Abraham Accords, guys, people in the UAE could not even go to Israel. But right now, guys, thanks to Abraham Accord, there are so many business agreements between Israel and UAE as well. Now look, as Trump has pursued global peace through economic means, such as renegotiating trade deals that he believed were unfair to US, and the classic one I can think of is NAFTA, which he replaced with USMCA, which is United States, Mexico, Canada agreement. Now look, as Robert De Niro, who is one of the Hollywood actors, he definitely did not like this, Now the answer to that, a lot of them don't know, is pretty simple, guys. He has roughly around 16 restaurants in those areas, and because of that he has to pay taxes, isn't it? And only because of that, guys, he goes on a rant talking negative things regarding President Donald Trump, because of USMCA, he can't get free labor from Mexico, and it is only because of that, guys, he puts out a lot of rants regarding President Donald Trump. Now look, so far as President Donald Trump is concerned, guys, his approach to global conflicts has been rooted in philosophy of diplomacy, non-intervention and peaceful negotiations, and he has consistently resisted military escalation and sought to enforce quickly without further US military commitments, whereas extreme left-leaning Biden and the Democrats, they have perceived a more interventionist foreign policies with significant military aid to Ukraine and an emphasis on confrontation rather than de-escalation. And this contrast highlights the different versions for America's role in the world, isn't it? Now President Donald Trump is prioritizing peace and reducing military conflicts, whereas Biden's administrations appear to favor continued military involvement, potentially leading to global instability. And unfortunately, guys, only because of that, the price of Bitcoin since the last 3 days has been going down, isn't it? At this point of time, guys, the price of Bitcoin should have surpassed the $100,000 mark. Now look, guys, if you agree to my assessment or disagree to my assessment, mention them in the comments below. Now since the last week, guys, what I'm doing is, the audio version of this particular episode, I'm putting it on something called as Notebook LM by Google. Now here's the interesting thing to note, guys. A lot of the high-tech companies such as Google, Apple, they had donated heavily to Joe Biden, isn't it? So when I go and put the audio file, guys, they don't talk anything negatives regarding Joe Biden. So what I'll be doing, guys, is after this episode is released, I would be putting this audio version in Notebook LM via Google, and let's see, guys, if they're honest, or even the artificial intelligence created by them is extremely left-leaning. That, to be honest, is definitely wrong and scary, isn't it? I'm just hoping they're absolutely fair and square and don't take any specific side. Now on a side note, guys, what I'd really recommend you to do is go to Notebook LM by Google and check out the new applications that are connected to artificial intelligence. Some of them are really scary and good. Now, guys, let me go ahead and touch base on some numbers regarding NFTs. Now, NFT sales, guys, do actually remain strong, and they recorded $150 million in weekly sales, and this is despite a 12.7% dip from the previous week, where I believe the volume was $181 million. Now Ethereum, guys, definitely led the pack with $49 million in sales, but here's the interesting thing, guys, they've actually down by 25.9%. Now the second one is Bitcoin, guys, and if you look at the NFT volumes in terms of dollar amount, it was at a staggering $43 million, and that was down by 29% as well. And Solana was at number 3rd, and if you look at it in terms of dollar amount, it is $23.9 million, but it was also down by 9%. Now if you do need more information, guys, what I'd really recommend you to do is go to cryptoslime.io and you can check out these numbers yourself as well. And what the website states, guys, is that Solana saw significant growth in buyers with over 150,000 buyers, which is a 51% increase from the last week. And if you look at it from the monthly sales, guys, monthly sales are on track to surpass October's $356 million. And looks like the matrix is continuing the positive momentum that began after a 7-month decline in NFT sales. So it's going to be really interesting to see, guys, if this trend in NFTs continues for a longer time. Now, guys, let's go and touch base on some unfortunate news, and this is to do with Sui blockchain. And unfortunately, guys, this was the first major outage on Sui blockchain, and the Sui network, which is a decentralized layer 1 blockchain, often called a Solana killer, experienced the first major outage, and this did actually take place on the 21st of November, and they decided to halt the block production for over 2 hours. Now the downtime, guys, was attributed to a bug in transaction scheduling logic, and unfortunately, guys, because of that, the token that is Sui did actually go down by 11%, and a couple of exchanges like Upbit, they decided to suspend deposits and withdrawals as well. But that thing being said, guys, a fix was quickly deployed by Sui validators, and the network has resumed operations once again. Now look, some critics have compared this particular incident to Solana's downtime, and they have actually emphasized that Sui has sorted out this problem in just a matter of 2 hours. So far Solana is concerned, guys, they have been down on more than 10 occasions if I'm not mistaken, and when they go down, they tend to go down for 18 hours, 12 hours, sometimes even 4 hours as well. So keeping that thing in mind, guys, looks like the Sui network has done a much better job, hasn't it? Now, guys, let's go and touch base on some news all the way from UK and the United Kingdom, guys. they plan to draft a comprehensive regulatory framework for crypto industry. Now, what's really interesting to note, guys, is this would include stablecoins and staking service as well, and they will be doing this by early next year. And according to Economic Secretary, that is Tulip Siddiq, who was speaking at the City and Financial Global Tokenization Summit, Siddiq outlined the Labour government's intent to advance measures introduced by the conservative politicians, which include regulating crypto as a financial activity under the Financial Services and Market Act and establishing rules for operating crypto trading platforms and preventing market abuse. Notably, guys, it's important to note that stablecoins will be removed from UK's payment regime and staking will avoid classification as a collective investment scheme. Now, this particular move aims to provide clarity following months of regulatory uncertainty and aligns with European Commission's implementations of MiCA, that is Market in Crypto Asset Regulations Framework, which has already taken effect in part, and MiCA, guys, allows licensed crypto asset service providers in European member state to operate across all 27 nations, underscoring the competitive regulatory landscape as the UK seeks to finalize its own approach. So it's going to be really interesting to see, guys, what regulatory framework they come up with. But look, guys, as I mentioned earlier, when you talk about the Labour government, they're definitely not fans of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, so I wouldn't be surprised if this entire regulatory framework gets delayed by another year or so as well. Those are my honest thoughts. So these were the newscasts from the cryptocurrency and blockchain world. Now let's look at two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. And the first newscast is regarding Mantra, and they are partnered with Pies to tokenize electronic motorcycles in the UAE. Now look, guys, me personally, I'm a bit skeptical regarding this news, but what I'll do is, guys, I'll go ahead and discuss what this news is all about. Because Mantra, guys, they are partnered with Pies and they want to tokenize electric motorcycle for logistics and delivery services in the UAE. Now here's the interesting thing, guys. The initial deliveries of the vehicle will be pink in color and they will begin in Dubai this December. And the collaboration, guys, emphasizes environmental sustainability and supports Dubai's sustainability goals. And so far as Pies is concerned, they were selected for Mantra's incubator program early in 2024, fostering green technology innovation. And Pies, guys, they plan to tokenize over 10,000 electric motorcycles on Mantra's chain by year-end 2025. And this particular initiative, guys, aims to transfer last mile delivery with eco-friendly solutions, and tokenized leasing will make electric motorcycle accessible to retail audience, and Pies enables individuals to invest in green assets such as electric mobility and renewable energy, while at the same time earning returns as well. And this particular model, guys, allows users to offset the carbon footprint investment in sustainable projects, and the Mantra branded pink bikes were actually revealed during Binance Blockchain Week in October of this year. And Pies' co-founder highlighted the electric revolution in Dubai's logistic and food delivery sectors, and the CEO of Mantra, that is John Patrick Mullen, emphasizes the partnership's importance in advancing eco-friendly delivery solutions in the region. And Mantra and Pies, guys, are positioned at the forefront of bringing real-world assets on-chain, and Mantra's chain, guys, supports real-world asset tokenization with real-world regulatory adherence, and Mantra chain offers advanced tech modules and interoperability for developers and institutions. And the 2024 Mantra Incubator included Pies alongside real estate and finance projects, and the program, guys, provided guidance for participants to build decentralized applications for Mantra's infrastructure. Now look, so far as real-world asset tokenization is concerned, guys, I really am not sure if this would be the right move, to be honest, because look, when you talk about blockchain technology, guys, I really am not sure if the Mantra chain is an open blockchain or permission blockchain. Based on my understanding, this is a permission blockchain, isn't it? And there is nothing called as permission blockchain, guys. The other word for that is a software, or even better, guys, you can also use Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Now that is one area of concern I have. Now the second one, guys, when you talk about real-world asset tokenization and the fact that they are stating that Mantra chain supports real-world asset tokenization with real-world regulatory adherence, you need to go ahead and do KYC and compliance, isn't it? How will they do it on an open blockchain? Let's say if they were able to do it on an open blockchain as well. Let's say a person is fully compliant, and if he does decide to go ahead and transfer the tokens to person B, who is from a sanctioned countries, what happens to that entire token, guys? Will Mantra chain be legally responsible for that? This is a big question, isn't it? And that is one of the reasons why I do feel, guys, when you talk about tokenization, it can happen on a permission blockchain, but as I mentioned earlier, guys, there is nothing called as permission blockchain, because in a permission blockchain, you can essentially do double spending, and this goes back to why Bitcoin was created, isn't it? Bitcoin was created, guys, so that transactions are peer-to-peer, and one of the biggest innovations of Satoshi Nakamoto was that he actually prevented double spending in permission blockchain, guys. You do have the ability to go ahead and rewrite the entire ledger, so really I'm not sure how this entire thing would work, but nonetheless, guys, I'm definitely hoping nothing but the best for this particular project. Now, guys, let's go ahead and discuss second news. In Help AG, guys, they have unveiled AI-driven cybersecurity solutions at Black Hat, and they want to secure Saudi Arabia's digital future. So let me go ahead and share more information regarding this. Because Help AG showcased advanced AI and threat detection and post-quantum readiness solutions at Black Hat Saudi Arabia 2024. And Help AG, guys, aligns with cybersecurity offerings with Saudi Arabia Vision 2030, supporting digital transformative initiative. They introduced a pioneering approach to address today's cybersecurity challenges, while at the same time preparing for future threats. And they also had a live demonstration, guys, which was hosted at the Innovator Zone, and they focused on quantum-resistant encryption technology. And right now, guys, so far as AG is concerned, they are recognized as Managed Security Service Leader in the GCC, as well as Managed Detection and Response Leader in the Middle East, and they do have a comprehensive cyber defense portfolio, which includes proactive threat detection, response automation, threat intelligence, and digital protection services as well. Now, what I really like, guys, is that they are actually taking local expertise, and they offer services leveraging in-country resources and local expertise, ensuring compliance with Saudi Arabia's national cybersecurity framework. And the solutions, guys, include network segmentation, secure data transfer, remote access protections, and access management for critical infrastructure. And the services, guys, are tailored for audit readiness, incident response planning, and adherence to national regulations across sectors like government, finance, and healthcare as well. And they do have 24/7 security operations centers, and they operate state-of-the-art security operations centers in Saudi Arabia, providing round-the-clock monitoring and incident response led by Saudi professionals. And they also have a couple of strategic partnership, guys, and they have collaborated with leading tech companies, including Palo Alto Networks, Splunk, CyberArk, Rubrik, and quite a lot more to enhance cybersecurity solutions. And they are focused on managing security services as well, and they offer solutions for cloud security, identity protections, offensive security, governance, and risk compliance. And when you talk about AI and post-quantum security, guys, they definitely emphasize safe, responsible AI integration and quantum-resistant encryption to counter emerging cybersecurity threats. And Help AG, guys, they also secure Saudi Arabia's critical infrastructure as part of the digital transformation journey, and it has positioned itself as a trusted partner for governments and enterprises, focusing on B-Scope solutions for the Middle East. And they definitely support Saudi Arabia's $100 billion initiative by ensuring cybersecurity readiness for AI advancements. And they have reinforced leadership in intelligence, automation-driven security to safeguard Saudi Arabia's resilient digital future. So definitely positive news. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if as artificial intelligence is concerned, the Middle East turns out to be the leader for the entire world. So definitely brilliant stuff. And that's about all, guys, from the cryptocurrency, blockchain, and artificial intelligence world from Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes, it's going to be an Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's get started with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's Josh from Blockchain DXB, listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. I have a question by Ria who asks, with Solana's NFT growth, do you see challenging Ethereum's dominance in the space? Now, truth be told, I don't see that thing happening at least for the next 3 to 5 years, because look, whenever we talk about Solana, there's this very high possibility that they might have a downtime, isn't it? And as I mentioned earlier, Ria, in the past they've had several such downtime, and if they do face a similar situation, that'll definitely take away the momentum from Solana, and it would actually go to Sui network, isn't it? Now that thing being said, Ria, Solana's recent surge in NFT growth, highlighted by a 51% increase in buyers, and I believe $23.9 million in weekly sales, definitely positions itself as a strong competitor to Ethereum. And Solana's ecosystem focuses on scalability, low transaction cost, and the rapid transaction speed provides a compelling alternative to Ethereum's often congested and expensive network, isn't it? This, according to me, to a certain extent, definitely makes Solana particularly attractive for high volume and low cost NFT projects. However, it's really important to note here that in the past there have been so many Ethereum killers. There was EOS at one point of time, which was an Ethereum killer. There was Cardano, which was an Ethereum killer. Now look, Ethereum's dominance isn't straightforward. Ethereum's mature ecosystem, robust developer community, and the long-standing dominance in the NFT space does actually give it a significant edge, and the platform also enjoys the trust of institutional players and major NFT collections like Bored Ape Yacht Club, as well as CryptoPunks, which I believe is still in the top 3, isn't it? And earlier today I also talked about Sui Network, which had a downtime, and look, the downtime of Sui Network does give us some additional perspective as new blockchains like Sui and Solana scale. Ensuring consistent reliability does become critical. Now Ethereum, despite its high cost, has a proven track record of uptime and security, isn't it? And factors like this definitely heavily influence developers and users choosing a platform for valuable assets like NFTs. So the only thing I can say is that look, Solana is rapidly catching up, and at one point of time could be the go-to choice for specific use cases, but at the same time it also needs to address challenges like downtime, in my opinion. Those are my honest thoughts, but definitely interesting question. And that's about all, guys. I'm the Ask Me Anything Season Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Remember, Monday to Thursdays, 8 am to 8:30 am, we have Crypto with Coffee podcast, where we cover top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other 2 news and information is related to Dubai, UAE and the Middle East, from the cryptocurrency, blockchain and now artificial intelligence world as well. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, Metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.